So I'd like to call the order to order and welcome everyone to the regularly scheduled Utility Service Board meeting of May 9th. The first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes of the previous meeting. Are there any questions about the minutes from last meeting? Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
All in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The next order of business is approval of the claims. We have four types. The first is standard invoices for a total of $2,149,033.76. Do we have any questions about the claims? Yes.
I have a question on page 1. There are two charges to Alexander's LLC for completely different things, but then the amounts are exactly the same. I just want to make sure that wasn't an error. And I'm sure it can be looked into, but
We'll make a note and look into it.
yeah.
Yeah, Missy couldn't be here tonight because she's not feeling well. So I'll make notes and
Okay.
talk to her about it. Thank you.
And it just seemed odd that the amounts were the same. That's
Yes.
my only question.
It looks like we bought a lot of trucks.
Yes.
Are they in already?
Oh, no, they won't be here for a while. Yes.
Other questions? Right, do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next up, we have utility bills totaling $20,442.84. Do we have a motion, or any questions? Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next up, wire transfers totaling $530,738.19. Any questions about the wire transfers today? Do you have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And finally, the customer refunds totaling $1,343.51. Any questions about the customer refunds? Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, next up is the approval of the consent agenda totaling $7,500. Vic Kelson.
Good evening. I'm Vic Kelson, Director of Utilities. We have two items on the consent agenda tonight, which total $7,500. First is to Crow LLC for $3,000. This is financial assurance review and the report for the Dillman landfill. The second item is to Heflin Industries Incorporated for $4,500. These are chemical room upgrades at the Monroe Water Treatment Plant. Would any board members like to consider any of these individually? Hearing none, if there's no opposition, the consent agenda will be approved as recommended by the staff. Hearing no opposition, the consent agenda is approved. Thank you.
Next up, we have a request for approval of an agreement with Mitchell & Stark Construction for solids dewatering improvements project at Monroe Water Treatment Plant, not to exceed $2.2 million. Dan Hudson.
Hello, for the record, I'm Dan Hudson, Manager of Capital Projects for CBU, requesting the board to sign the contract with Mitchell & Stark for the solids dewatering project. That includes a building for the solids and also a belt press and related equipment.
Any questions about the project? About the agreement? Okay, my understanding is that we'll need a motion to approve for the agreement subject to approval by the mayor and the controller's office.
That's correct. We're still waiting for the paperwork.
So would anyone like to make that motion?
So moved.
All in favor of approving the agreement, subject to the approval of the mayor and the controller's office, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. On to old business. Any old business from the board? Old business from staff?
None?
Next up, new business from the board. New business from staff.
None.
Did we have any subcommittees meeting?
We did not.
Then staff reports time.
Just a couple of things. The first is, if you haven't been watching, last week we had a spike up in the sample concentrations for the COVID virus at the 2 wastewater plants. At Dillman, it went up to 3,800, and at Blue Pool, it was 9,200. So those are significant, very large increases at both facilities. Those samples were taken a week ago today. We anticipate today's samples would be back either sometime late Wednesday or sometime early Thursday. So you can please watch the city's Socrata website if you're interested. The way I get there is I go to data.bloomington.n.gov, and then you can click through from there. Just wanted everyone to be aware of that. So please continue to pay close attention to the spread of the COVID-19 virus. The other item you'll be interested in is that today we had our ratings call with Standard & Poor's for the water bonds, and we should know within about the next 3 weeks how the rating came through, and then we'll proceed with the sale of the bonds. That's already been approved by the board. It's already been approved by the council. We're just going through the process right now. And that's really all I have.
Kirk?
I just make the point, Vic, by a method of comparison. Those numbers, if you look back on the graph, that's the highest numbers we've had since mid-January when we had the last big spike. So there is a lot of COVID in Bloomington right now. The good news is that the hospital has not seen an increase, a significant increase in patients. So it may be that this strain isn't quite as severe, but I've noticed several people getting sick lately that I hadn't seen that for a while. So we've really got, I've got to hand it to this capability we've got, because as we talked about a couple weeks ago, the testing has decreased with the community testing sites, the state and federal funding going away. The university isn't testing as much. So really our wastewater is the best way for us to tell the level of infection in the community, and to have it spike up like this, the same place we were when we had the big January spike is significant. So I'm glad we're able to provide that for the public.
Please, Gene.
Yeah, I'd wanted to follow, are you following up on Kirk?
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead, then I'll go.
okay, and then you. I'm just wondering, Vic, and I doubt that our testing can do it, is there any capability of identifying strains of COVID, or is it just sort of a general marker of COVID?
It depends on the sampling methodology. The sampling methodology that's being used at the lab that we're working with, they're not reporting to us any kind of speciation at all on it. We hope to be able to well, we're expecting the technology to change over the coming months, and there may be some other opportunities to either get more sample results or more complex sample results. But typically, whatever the prevalent strain is nationwide is what we're getting.
Okay, I was just curious because, as Mr. White said, maybe the strain that we've got going around right now isn't, as deadly because of the hospital numbers not spiking, but the more virus that's going around, the more chance of mutations to get. So I'm kind of wondering, if we might see a change in that. So thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to underscore what Kirk said. I don't need to look at any data to know that COVID cases are zooming everywhere. Until recently, I knew relatively few people who had COVID. In the last 3 weeks or a month, I've got relatives, I've got neighbors. Bertie and I had COVID 3 weeks ago. I mean, it's just everywhere. And I think that some of the reasons why we get this great underreporting is that so many people are now doing home testing and not reporting it. So, we did home testing, but then we went for PCR testing, so it did get reported, but I'd say many, many people are. And, the longer this strain, whatever it is, stays there, the greater the likelihood of another mutation, and it may not be as benign as the current strains. So, people think we're out of it and no problem, and it's just not true. So I'm glad we're testing for it.
Well, I feel a bit naked sitting here without my mask, I must admit. But thanks for bringing this up and bringing it to my awareness and everyone else's. Other questions about the staff report? Any other petitions and communications? Okay, do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Thank you. We are adjourned.
Thank you.